Health is real, seek help, end the stigma. On the news this evening, Rivers NUJ demands prosecution of policemen involved in assaults of journalists during Monday's protest. Lawyer reacts to protest held amid emergency rule in Rivers State. Maritime workers in Rivers State threaten to suspend operations over insecurity. And on the foreign scene, 27 die after a roof collapsed at a nightclub in Dominican Republic. I'm Sam Chinedu, and the news continues after the break. The Nigeria Union of Journalists (NUJ) in Rivers State has given the Rivers State Police Command 14 days to apologize and prosecute officers involved in the assault of journalists who covered yesterday's protest. The state NUJ said this in a statement signed by its chairman, Paul Bazia, and secretary, Ijoma Tubosia. The union condemned the attack and warned that further attacks on journalists will not be tolerated. Also, the Vice President of the Nigeria Union of Journalists South-South, Opaka Dokubo, has condemned the police statement denying that it fired shots and tear-gassed journalists and peaceful protesters in Port Harcourt yesterday. Speaking with our correspondent, Mr. Dokubo challenged the police to provide the phones they claim to have recovered from the so-called miscreants.
For me, I condemn that statement in the strongest possible terms. Journalists were right there on ground, they witnessed it, they were in fact even victims of some high-handedness of the police. And for the police to come out to say they were after some criminals, I mean, how low can the police really go? For the police to look at Nigerians in the face and tell them blatant lies. I think it's unfortunate for you to cook up such lies on people. Okay, where are the phones that you collected from the so-called criminals? Who and who? How many people were really arrested?
Meanwhile, some residents of Port Harcourt have expressed outrage over the actions of the police.
They have no right to attack anybody who is protesting, and they can't give jurisdiction to as where the protest will take place. If people are complaining that there is an issue in the economy, they are experiencing bad governance, you don't keep them quiet. As a matter of fact, it is very wrong.
You cannot be a child and then you teach that child how to cry. Even that with how everything is going in the country, citizens of this country don't have right to protest peacefully. I thought by now all these enforcement agencies, they must have learned to arrest. Nigerian government is the only government that will beat you and teach you how to cry, and that is so heartbreaking.
If those whom we call to protect us now turn against us, that is where it becomes another thing. We have the right to protest as far as democracy is concerned. It's very wrong, which means they are taking sides.
They reminded police that they are also affected by the bad economy.
They are dying and smiling. If the government says the government or the situation of the country is not affecting them, that means they are dying and smiling. Go to the market, they are human beings like us, they are buying something in the market.
Even most of these people, they are also fighting for them. Most of them are not being paid. Well, if everything goes up for everybody, it will reach them. So what they are doing is unfair, their job. Because if there's no bad governance over them, they will not be constantly taking under them and 150 from people, from road users. They will not be doing it. And people are protesting. In your interest, yes, you are out to throwing tear gas at them. It's wrong.
We are all feeling it, so including them somehow. People call them from places to beg them for money. Don't you think we get tired of those things? They are too selfish to acknowledge that. They are too selfish.
Recall that yesterday the River State Police Command denied reports that it opened fire and tear-gassed journalists and protesters who were on a peaceful protest around Bali Park and the Federal Secretariat Complex, Aba Road in Port Harcourt. Spokesperson of the command, Grace Iringekoko, in a statement said the police observed a group of miscreants engaging in criminal acts, including theft of mobile phones and other valuables from unsuspecting members of the public. She said police operatives responded swiftly, dispersing the individuals. She said reports that police fired tear gas and shot at protesters are deliberate fabrications by mischief makers, seeking to incite public anxiety and create unnecessary tension within the state. In another development, a lawyer, Idris Abayomi Shehu, says there is no law prohibiting protest or any form of gathering in River State in spite of the state of emergency declared in the state by President Bola Tinubu. Abayomi Shehu said this during an interview with our correspondent. He encouraged those who believe that their rights were violated during yesterday's protest in Port Harcourt to seek redress in courts.
It is a known law that whenever any citizen or group of persons intend to embark on any protest, you seek the approval of the police for police protection. Most of the times, citizens don't go by that law. So like I said, in the current situation now, it would be wrong for anybody to say it is illegal for any group of persons to embark on any form of protest. So if anybody feels his or our right is being violated under the current situation, the courts are there. Approach the courts and surely those rights would be enforced.
Abayomi Shehu also said the constitution was not suspended when the emergency rule was declared in River State.
When the state of emergency was being imposed in Rivers State, the president was very explicit about it. He said, if there is any law that needs to be put in place in Rivers State, the sole administrator will work hand in hand with the Federal Executive Council. Do not forget, once a military regime is put in place, this constitution is outrightly suspended, which is not the situation in Rivers State today. The constitution is still very much alive. So the sole administrator is not a military man, so there is no restriction.
Similarly, human rights advocate Mr. Haya King believes that the police will only perform better if the president is stripped of the power to appoint Inspector General of Police. King, while speaking with correspondent Emeka Otuka on the National Police Day celebration, said the police are underperforming due to political control.
My advice to them will be to focus on their core mandate of protecting lives and properties of Nigerians as they celebrate their police day. Follow the police act, follow the Nigerian constitution, but specifically, they cannot do their best when they are controlled. That is just the truth about it. But if a man knows that the government cannot do me anything, and the president cannot do me anything, and if I do my job well, and if I don't do it well, the system will catch up with me, I will go to jail. Everybody will cure. Politicians are the problem of Nigeria. Not judiciary, not police, they control everybody.
In other news, a policy analyst, Mr. Young Ayotamino, is calling on religious leaders to preach religious tolerance and peaceful coexistence in society. He said this while reacting to the recent tension at the Woji market, where a female food vendor was attacked after being accused of blasphemy against Prophet Muhammad. Speaking in an interview with our correspondent Emeka Otuka, Mr. Ayotamino expressed concern over what he described as growing segregation and intolerance among religious groups across the country.
We should be more religiously tolerant, and not of it is that the clerics of these different faiths should, as much as possible, try to actually educate their members, on the need for peace, the need to be more tolerant in terms of the ideas of one another, and also to read particularly the content of their holy book, because I believe that there is no particular holy book or there is none of the religions that outrightly, subscribe to violence. So we should be more careful looking at happenings in the country.
Ms. Ayotamino also called on the police to carry out a thorough investigation into the incident, stressing that no one has the right to take another person's life under any circumstance.
The security agency should go further than this, and such a person should actually be arrested to meet such kinds of intentions in the board and be committed. He should commit to the fact that he is ready to live peacefully. So nobody has such power to take the life of another. We should be very careful in this country. No one life is more important than that of another. Nobody has the right under our laws to take the life of another.
Still to come, maritime workers in Rivers State threaten to suspend operations over insecurity. Stay tuned.
When in
Maritime Workers Union of Nigeria in Rivers State, Israel Waribo Pepple, has warned that both operators may be forced to suspend operations if their abducted colleagues and passengers are not released soon. Ms. Waribo Pepple said this to correspondent Emeka Otuka while reacting to last Friday's abduction of 4 oil workers and a boat passenger who were traveling from Abonima Wharf to Kote Channel.
2 days ago, they called me that they want to choose them until their driver is being rescued. But we tried to tell them that since we've reported the matter to the police, let us allow the police to carry out their investigations than taking the laws into our hands. So we are still talking to them, and as we speak, the driver cannot have it. You know the slogan of our union, injury for one, injury for all. If the situation is not under control, but I strongly believe that the security will definitely do their work, and maybe I believe that within a week that they will be rescued. But if it persists, we will have no options that will pull down for the government to also expedite action in their actions.
Mr. Waribo Pepple said the Bile, Kalabari and Kote Channel waterways remain unsafe despite improved security on the Bonny route. He called for more gunboats to be provided to security agencies to cover all routes across the waterways.
Firstly, on Friday, a boat that is conveying oil workers from Abonima to Kote Channel was hijacked by unknown gunmen, and the 4 passengers and the driver were also abducted. As I speak to you, they are yet to be released. The Bonny route is well secured. There is a delay, Kote Channel, and from Abonima to those areas. I think it's still porous for now. So I think if more gunboats will be provided for the Marine Police, they can also man those areas. And I also want to appeal to the OC Marine and the Commissioner for Police to also look into those areas.
Meanwhile, the spokesperson of the River State Police Command, Grace Iringekoko, said the Commissioner of Police, Olugbenga Adepoju, has directed the Marine Unit to step up efforts to secure the release of the abducted passengers. Different drivers' unions in Port Harcourt are appealing to the sole administrator, retired Vice Admiral Ibokete Ibas, to urgently address the continuous menace of illegal task force operation in River State. Speaking in an interview with our correspondent, the chairman of Urban Drivers Welfare Association, Choba Unit, Bestman Chile, said task force members are pressuring drivers to buy illegal tickets.
Commercial drivers don't operate freely. When we cried about multiple taxation, he introduced a ticket called Unified Ticket. We were all happy. Now, some men currently came up that their local government council task force begin to harass drivers for stickers, local government stickers and local government ticket. These men will hold you for this sticker and ticket. They will ask you to pay the sum of 60 to 80,000 naira before your vehicle will be released to you. Knowing fully well that what they are doing is illegal. The state, the Wemini Rivers people, the sole administrator, they should come to the aid of commercial drivers.
On his part, the chairman of Drivers Welfare Club of Nigeria, Christopher Ezali, frowned at the protection given to the illegal task force by the police.
Mola. That tax road, they are still impounding people's vehicles and charging 40,000, 48,000.
So you think the sole administrator should...
The man should be able to put a stop to all those things. I thought that he suspended some revenue agencies. Then what are these people for? And they are collaborating with police to do all these things.
Some students in various higher institutions across Rivers State have called on the sole administrator, retired Vice Admiral Bokete Ibas, to approve funds for the payment of bursary. Speaking in an interview with our correspondent, the students also appealed for overseas scholarships and grants. They said the gesture will help reduce the effect of the harsh economic reality in Nigeria.
I call on the sole administrator to actually provide and cater for the students' needs. As a student of Rivers State University, I think it's beneficial for all students to get bursaries, laptops, and the rest to cushion the effects of the hardship in this country. And it will help encourage the students to do more in their education.
Students should be paid bursary in Rivers State. Most students, they have difficulties in finance. So if the state can actually support them, it will be a good thing.
Students are really struggling, aside from our parents supporting us. So we need help from the government. That money will actually go a long way.
If they pay the bursary, at least before our parents will be able to bring money for us, the bursary will go a long way for us to sort our problems. Like us are paying transport from far. Before our parents would spend that monthly transport, we are appealing that he should help us since they have suspended our governor.
As you may know, aside the award of scholarships to 100 students of Wigwe University in October 2024 by Siminala Ifubara's administration, and the sustenance of a scholarship scheme for indigenous students in Pamo University of Medical Sciences instituted by Nyesom Wike's administration in 2018, the last payment of students' bursary and overseas scholarship was done by Rotimi Amechi's administration for 2011-2012 and 2012-2013 academic sessions. Tasked with the mandate to sponsor the education of deserving students abroad, the Amechi administration established the River State Sustainable Development Agency, RSSDA, but much has not been heard from the agency in over a decade. The Abia State government has threatened to sack any school head or principal who sabotages its free education policy by charging illegal fees and levies. Commissioner for Information, Prince Oke Kano, said this after this week's State Executive Council meeting. He restated that education is free from primary to junior secondary 3 in all public schools across the state. On the international scene, at least 27 people have died after a roof collapsed at a nightclub in the Dominican Republic. More than 150 people are injured and rescue workers are still attempting to free people from the rubble. It is not yet clear what caused the incident, which happened in the early hours of Tuesday during a concert. On the news this evening, you heard Rivers NUJ has demanded the prosecution of the policeman involved in assault of journalists during Monday's protest. Lawyer Idris Abayamishe, who has reacted to protests held amid emergency rule in Rivers State. Maritime workers in Rivers State have threatened to suspend operations over insecurity. On the foreign scene, 27 people have died after a roof collapsed at a nightclub in the Dominican Republic. The news was edited by Onyekachi Wonsu. To reach the news team, send an SMS or WhatsApp to 0808-721-7215. I'm Sam Chinedu. Thanks for listening.